had I a golden thread and needles so fine, I'd weave a magic strand of rainbow design, of rainbow design. Far over the waters I'd reach my magic band to every human being, so they would understand, so they'd understand. I'm walking down that track, I got tears in my eyes, trying to read a letter from my home. If that train runs right, I'll see my woman Saturday night, 'cause I'm 900 miles from my home, and I hate to hear that lonesome whistle blow. That train I ride on, she's 100 coaches long. You can hear the whistle blow 100 miles. If that train runs right, I'll see my woman Saturday night, 'cause I'm 900 miles from my home, and I hate to hear that lonesome whistle blow. Train I ride on, she's 100 coaches long. You can hear the whistle blow 100 miles. If that train runs right, I'll see my woman Saturday night, 'cause I'm 900 miles from my home. And if my woman says so, I'll railroad no more. I'll sidetrack my train and go home. If that train runs right, I'll see my woman Saturday night, 'cause I'm 900 miles from my home, and I hate to hear that lonesome whistle blow. I guess musicians are a kind of a traveling breed, a gypsy kind of life. It's an upside-down kind of a way to make a living, you know. You play while other people work, and you work while other people play. But as Woody Guthrie once told me, he said, you know, somebody's got to travel in this world. There's a lot of traveling to be done. He says, if I didn't travel, why, you'd have to up and leave your job, and you'd have to travel, because somebody's got some traveling to do. And I was thinking how the musicians of the old days used to go from castle to castle. And they wouldn't just sing within their own country of Europe. A musician wouldn't just sing with the French castles. He'd go from castle to castle. Pretty soon he'd find himself in Germany or Switzerland. Maybe he'd cross the English Channel and sing in some of the castles of England. So it is that many and many a tune which you and I have heard all our life may have once upon a time been a French song or a German song or an Italian or a Spanish tune. Take this little tune. Boom, 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 boom. Boom, 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 boom. Maybe I told you before how it's known in every country of Europe. Mozart was living in France and he heard it. made a piano piece out of it. In Germany, they sing it. Boom, 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 boom. Boom, 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 boom. Up in Norway, they have a version of it. Ole, ole, Anna, ole, ole, Anna, ole, 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 Anna. Boom, ding, 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 ding. Same song. A fellow from Sweden said, "Oh, we know it. We dance the hamba to rum rum pum rum pum rum pum pum rum rum pum 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 pum." A fellow from the Ukraine once told me. He says, "Oh, we know that too. It's just in minor." Now you slow that down. And it's the national anthem of Israel. You see, we're all cousins. And maybe that's what this rainbow quest is all about. Well, these same traveling musicians who took a tune from one part of the world to another are still going on, except nowadays they don't travel on foot or on horseback. They're on trains or airplanes. And they don't go from castle to castle, they go from country to country. I thought I'd introduce one of these men to you here. I have never met him until today. Usually the various guests we've had on the program, friends of mine from years back, I've known for many years, and we kind of chat about old times. But Alexander Zelkin, I never met him before today. He was born in France. His father was a Russian emigre. His mother was French. And in his house he grew up speaking both languages. Then later on he went to Israel. Later on he came to the USA. Now he's living up in Montreal, Canada, because he knows so many French songs, and they got a lot of French people up there that understand him. Down here it's rougher going. But I heard about him. I heard about Alexander Zelkin, and I thought I'd like to hear what he's got to say, hear what he's got to sing, see what stories he's got to tell, what he looks like. So I asked him, called him up on the telephone, said, "Would you come around and sing?" And who knows, maybe we can get together. I know a few Russian songs, not very many. One of the old, we used to do some dancing to. That other famous song, it's known all through Eastern Europe. Maybe he knows it all the way through, and maybe he knows the words, which I don't. So in just a few minutes, we'll meet Alexander Zelkin, and we're going to swap songs back and forth, the two of us. He'll sing one, I'll sing one, he'll sing one, I'll sing one, and we'll see what happens. Alexander Zelkin. What's the name of that song I was playing anyway? I've heard the tune all my life, but I don't know the words.
Yes, well, in English it's Moonshine.
Moonshine?
Moonshine, yes. And in Russian it means moonshine, it's called Svetит Месяц, and it's the most popular dance in Russia.
Oh, it's known all around the world, it must be. Boom. Do you play it on the guitar? we'd rehearsed that a long time.
Yeah, right.
How is it? I knew that you were coming to the ending there. Well, I did.
Oh, well, you were feeling it.
Yeah, I guess so. I wonder why they call it moonshine.
Because, well, I remember when I heard for the first time this dance, I was about 10-year-old, and you know, in France there are Russian organizations, and they have summer camps, and in those summer camps there are big orchestras, string orchestras, and they were singing when there was the campfire. I'm sorry, they were playing this, and it was always by moonshine. I suppose that in Russia they always play this in the evening, you know, when there is the rejoicing time in the village. It's in the evening and during the night.
Now, as I understand it, you sing songs in several different languages, am I right?
Yes, right.
French songs, too?
Yes, French, especially French and Russian because of my origins.
We'll sing a French song.
Let's sing a French song. What kind of song? Well, I'd like to sing a very old French song from the province of Brittany. It's from the beginning of the 18th century. This time when there were sergeants, recruiting sergeants going around France to pick up men for the armies of the King Louis XV, and they used to make the men drunk, and when the man was waking up, he was in the army and he had to spend 10-15 years in the armies. So this is a song about this time. It's an old man who says that in Brittany he went to ask for his son to the captain because the son is in the army, and the captain says, of course not, I will not give the son back. À Saint-Michel en grève, mon fils s'en est allé. Fallait au capitaine pour le lui demander. Mon vieux, c'est impossible, c'est mon meilleur soldat. Il a touché sa paye, je ne le rendrai pas. De ma muraille, va-t'en voir mon enfant, va voir s'il est en vie, s'il est au régiment. Bonjour petit Sylvestre, bonjour petit oiseau. Va-t'en dire à mon vieux père que son fils revient bientôt. Le vieux bonhomme pleure couché sur son grand lit. Au loin, les filles chantent la chanson de son fils. Sur le seuil de la porte, la fille s'écoute avec amour. Ne pleure plus mon père, Sylvestre est de retour. Of course, there is a happy hand and the son is coming back, but maybe after 10 years.
Well, let's see. If we're swapping songs, I got one that can match that. Did you ever hear this one? This time it's the girl who's mourning for the boy in the army. Here I sit on Buttermilk Hill, me, oh my, I cry my fill, and all my tears would turn a mill. Johnny has gone for a soldier. I sold my rock, I sold my reel to buy my love a sword of steel. But now he lies murdered on the field. Johnny has gone for a soldier. My theory is these old songs don't die out because the subject is still with us.
I know much about this because it's not a long memory for me. It was not a long time ago when I was living this, because I spent unfortunately 2 years during the Algerian War in Algeria.
Is that right?
And it reminds me also of many songs.
You were drafted in the French army?
I was, yes. Not for my luck.
Ah. And then you found yourself off there fighting and you weren't particularly enthusiastic about it?
Not at all.
Now, I understand you also lived in Israel. Is it after that?
Well, I went twice in Israel. The 2 times I went hitchhiking, which put me a little bit closer to the troubadours of the Middle Age. But first time I went alone, and the second time I went with my wife. And
where'd you pick her up along the way?
No, I took her in France. And we stood, the last time we stood 8 months. We lived there. The first time I was 5 months, and the second time 8 months. And my daughter was born there.
In Israel?
In Israel, yes.
Do you know an Israeli song?
Oh, sure. Let's sing maybe you know this song. It's a cowboy song. It would be, I think it would be the Israeli equivalent of Ghost Riders in the Sky. It's a song about, like many of the Israeli songs, about the desert of the Negev. And the song is called Arava, or the Song of the Riders.
Well, now let me see if I can match that. I don't really know many Israeli songs, but the first hit record the Weavers ever had back in 1950 was the song Tzena Tzena.
Yeah.
And a couple Israelis used to come down to the nightclub where we worked, and they coached us in our Hebrew pronunciation. Then Decca made us record it in English. But the Hebrew words fit the tune so much better. I also always sing it in Hebrew. Have you had that beard all your life?
Oh, well, it's a long story, but...
Before I sing this song, I must satisfy because I'm envious. I told my family when I get completely bald, I'm going to grow a beard. So how long did it take you to grow that?
Oh, this length, it takes 3-4 months.
3 months?
I mean the beard, not the mustache.
Oh, the mustache. How long was that?
Oh, this mustache is 3-year-old. I trimmed it 2-3 months ago because it was really too long. But the beard has an interesting story. I must tell it to you. Before I went to the army, I used to have a beard. And according to the rules of the French army, if you have a beard entering the army, you are allowed to keep it. But you know, the democracy is not always respected. And I knew that I had to shave my beard as soon as I get there, so I shaved it before. And then when I finished my basic training, I asked for the authorization to grow a beard, and of course it was refused. So I went to see the doctor, who was a friend of mine. I said to him, you just give me a paper and you say that I cannot shave because I have something on the skin, it hurts me. And he wrote a paper for me and allowed me to grow a beard, not to shave. And when the officers were asking me, are you allowed to grow a beard? I said, just look at the paper, I cannot shave. And since that time I grew a beard.
How old are you?
28.
Oh, good gosh. Here's a man. I'm old enough to be his father, and I'm still clean-shaven. I'm ashamed of myself.
Well, you don't have to.
I'll get a beard one of these days. Well, now, this Israeli song, I don't know if you know it or not. It has a nice kind of a way people can join in. I'll show you. Kabena mi ben khaylish safar Tsenna tsena hamno trena khaylim ma mashava Allah la hit kabena mi ben khaylish safar Tsenna tsena 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 I always tell my audiences that if they want to help me on this song, all they need to know is one word. Tsena, 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 tsena. And get that hand clap. Tsena, tsena. Tsena, 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 tsena. Tsena, 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 tsena. Tsena, 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 tsena. Tsena, tsena, tsena. Hey, let's try it again. Watch it now. Hey, you know, we're still on the subject of wars and soldiers. The words, now tell me if I'm right, mean come out, come out, come out, girls from the village, and welcome home the soldiers. Mm-hmm. That's the best sentiment of all. The second line, I like it. It says, girls, don't be modest, give them a good welcome.
I see what you mean.
All right, we'll have time for some more songs, but see in about 2 minutes. Want something to drink here?
I still have. That's all right.
Alexander, we haven't heard a Russian song yet. Now, I wish I knew the language, but like most Americans, I never really knew any other language but our American form of English. And I went over to Europe a couple of years ago and was kind of humiliated to find that everybody over there knew at least 2, sometimes 3 or 4 more languages. Not only that, in Africa, Asia, the driver of our car in Tanganyika knew 7 languages. In Israel, in Indonesia, the average kid in Indonesia knows 3 languages. He'll know his local language, he'll know the Indonesian national language, and maybe a neighboring language, because each locality has got a different one. And if he visits a few friends 50 miles up the coast, he's got to know a new language. So a couple of years ago, I started trying to learn Russian. Oi, what a language. 6 declensions. And long words. You know, you go into a restaurant, and instead, I saw a little sign there. In America, you'd see a sign saying, table not served. Mm-hmm. There it says, stol не обслуживается. Обслуживается, how many, 1, 2, 3, 7 syllables, it means served.
Yes, but in this word, you have 3 American words. Is not being served.
Well, all right.
It's not being served. 4 words in one, just one.
Well, you got me there. But I felt, gee, I wish I had more short words. At the same time, I had to admit it was a beautiful language to sing in.
Yes.
It's a beautiful language to sing in. And I tried singing a few songs. I learned one or two Russian songs, and some translators in Moscow had made a humdinger of a translation of a bawdy old Scottish song I've sung for many years about a man who comes home drunk. Well, I'll sing you just one verse of it in Russian. Раз ночью я пришел домой, был пьян, как стелька я. В конюшне лошадь увидал, а лошадь не моя. Своей хорошенькой жене сказал с упреком я: зачем чужая лошадь там, где быть должна моя? А где лошадь, видишь ты, шел бы лучше спать. Корова дойная стоит, что привела мне мать. Хоть знаю я весь Божий свет, объездил все края. Коровы дойной под седлом нигде не видел я. Well, you can imagine how the Russians were laughing. I'll sing the song in English, though. I've heard 100 different ways to sing this song, but I'll sing it the way I know best. The other night I got home drunk as I could be. I spied a horse in the stable where my horse ought to be. I says to my wife, my pretty little wife, explain this thing to me. What's this horse doing here in the stable where my horse ought to be? Oh, you blind fool, you drunken old fool, can't you plainly see? That's nothing but a milk cow my granny gave to me. I've traveled this wide world over 10,000 miles or more, and a saddle on a milk cow's back I never did see before. The next night I got home as drunk as I could be. I spied a hat on the hat rack where my hat ought to be. I says to my wife, my pretty little wife, explain this thing to me. What's this hat doing here on the hat rack where my hat ought to be? Oh, you blind fool, you drunken fool, can't you plainly see? It's nothing but a chamber pot my granny gave to me. I've traveled this wide world over 10,000 miles or more, and a J.B. Stetson chamber pot I never did see before. The next night I come home as drunk as I could be. I spied some pants upon the chair where my pants ought to be. I says to my wife, my pretty little wife, explain this thing to me. What's these pants doing here upon the chair where my pants ought to be? Oh, you blind fool, you drunken fool, can't you plainly see? It's nothing but a dish rag my granny give to me. I've traveled this wide world over 10,000 miles or more, and zippers on a dish rag I never did see before. Well, the last night I got home as drunk as I could be. I spied a head on the pillow where my head ought to be. I says to my wife, my pretty little wife, explain this thing to me. What's this head doing here on the pillow where my head ought to be? You blind fool, you drunken fool, can't you plainly see? It's nothing but a cabbage head my granny gave to me. I've traveled this wide world over 10,000 miles or more, but a mustache on a cabbage head I never did see before. Well, they translated the whole thing into Russian.
And they collapsed with laughter.
Yeah, and I swear some of the lines come out better in Russian than they do in English. Like where we say, I spied a head on the pillow. They simply say, Гляд, подушка, голова.
Right, 3
Look,
words.
pillow, head. It's a beautiful language, and maybe someday I'll learn it better. Well, you know it. Will you sing me a song all the way through it?
Oh, yes. I must sing a gay song now, I suppose. There is one which is very old and which has been very popularized now in Russia by many ensembles. And it's about a young man who is going down the river, and he is looking for somebody to comb his hair. And first person he finds is an old woman. She combs the hair, but she's just pulling the hair, and it's very painful. So he throws the woman away, and he finds a young one who combs the hair very softly. and as a reward, she's just asking for a kiss.
I don't believe it. You go on.
По речке, вдоль по казанке, сызы селезень плывет. Ай да люли, сызы селезень плывет. Вдоль да по бережку, вдоль да по крутому, добрый молодец идет. Душенька, Машенька, душенька, Парашенька, добрый молодец идет. За кудрями солнце русыми разговаривает. Ой, чай, верит чай, расточай, пугачай, разговаривает. Кому же мой кудры, кому же мой розы достанутся расчесать? Ай да люли, достанутся расчесать. Доставались кудры, доставались росы, старой бабушке чесать. Ай да люли, старой бабушке чесать. Вот она и чешет, вот она и гладит, только волосы дерет. Ай да люли, только волосы дерет. Доставались кудры, доставались росы, красной девицы чесать. Ай да люли, душенька, Машенька, красной девицы чесать. Вот она и чешет, вот она и гладит, волос к волосу кладет, волос к волосу кладет, волос к волосу кладет, поцелуем себе ждет.
Hey! I don't know what it means, but it doesn't matter.
I told you.
But the exact undertones.
No, it's exactly this. Maybe you can have the interpretation you want. You Western people, you have such a sick mind.
Well, maybe that's true, but I always had a feeling that a good song meant many different things. The more you knew about the background of it, the more... Like, for example, now somebody in a city might hear a cowboy song, and he'd say, well, isn't that a pretty song about the plains? But without knowing cowboy life, he couldn't really understand it.
Mm-hmm.
The pain, the danger. It may be a happy-sounding song,
Yeah.
but there are things the song doesn't say explicitly, which are nevertheless meant in there.
Well, you can interpret it as you like it.
Yeah.
You know, maybe we Russian people are so naive.
Have you been in Russia yourself?
Unfortunately, never. The closer I've been to Russia was Bulgaria. But,
They got a lot of good music there.
Oh, wonderful music. But you know, this kind of music is especially for chorus music. There are some ensembles which are wonderful, and I know, for instance, and you certainly know the Philippe Coutyov ensemble. They are singing Bulgarian songs, and the harmonies are so particular, something very different from what we are used to here. And you have been in Russia, and you certainly know Russian songs.
Well, I don't know them well, but this song I heard, speaking of choruses, from a wonderful chorus, the Pyatnitsky chorus. And the song was made up back 22 years ago. At the time, the Hitler's troops were coming in. And before they were kicked out, 30 million people were dead. And so it's not a happy song, but I found it had very deep meaning for people. Let me put the key up higher. Ой, туманы мои, растуманы, ой, родные леса и луга. Foggy mists of my home countryside, and the partisans are starting out on the march. At parting, they said, "You can expect good news from us." And on the old Smolensk road, they met the uninvited guests. Na prощание сказали герои. Ожидайте хороших вестей и по старой смоленской дороге повстречали незваных гостей.
As a matter of fact, it reminds me of many Russian songs which were written in the same period. But I think of another song which could be the following of this song. It's about the Russian army coming back from the war where they had the victory over Germany. And the last verse is a warning which says, "Let our enemy remember this. We don't shout, but we just warn them. We have been all around the world, and if we need to, we shall do it again." It's called Forward.
Пусть далек у нас с тобою веселье солдат глядит, вьется знамя полковое, командиры впереди. Для тебя, родная, есть почта полевая, прощай, труба зовет. Солдаты в поход, ах ты воин, парень бравый, смотрится колом в строю. Родни, родились мы со славой, славу были в бою. Солдаты в для тебя, родная, из почта полевая, прощай, труба зовет. Солдаты в поход. Дни теперь для нас настали, и учебы, и труда. Но за то, что война разметала наши села, города. Солдаты в родная, почта полевая, прощай, труба зовет. Солдаты в поход. Для тебя, родная, есть почта полевая, прощай, труба зовет. Солдаты в поход. Враги запомнят твердо, негрозимо говорим. Мы прошли с тобой полсвета, если нужно, повторим. Солдаты в путь, в путь. А для тебя, родная, есть почта полевая. Прощай, труба зовет. Солдаты в поход, в поход, в поход.
Well, we got time for a few more songs. Stick around, about 2 minutes. Us two traveling musicians have a few more songs. Alexander Zelkin, I'm going to sing a song which I learnt the words of out of a book of poetry written by a Welsh coal miner. And it seemed to me the words would have meaning for anybody in the whole world, even though he was talking about the bells in the little coal mining towns of his home. Oh, what will you give me, sang the sad bells of Rimini. Is there hope for the future? Say the brown bells of Mather. Who made the mine owners? Say the black bells of Runda. And who robbed the miner? Say the grim bells of Blaina. They will plunder willy-nilly, say the bells of Caerphilly. They have fangs, they have teeth, shout the loud bells of Neath. Even God is uneasy, say the moist bells of Swansea. And what will you give me, sang the sad bells of Rimini. Throw the vandals in court, say the bells of Newport. All would be well if, say the green bells of Cardiff. Why so worried, sisters, why, sang the silver bells of Wye. Oh, what will you give me, sang the sad bells of Rimini. What will you give me, sang the sad bells of Rimini. Is there hope for the future, say the brown bells of Mather. Even God is uneasy, say the moist bells of Swansea. And who made the miner, say the grim bells of Blaina. Throw the vandals in court, say the bells of Newport. All would be well if, say the green bells of Cardiff. Why so worried, sisters, why, sang the silver bells of Wye. Oh, what will you give me, sang the sad bells of Rimini. Well, it's your turn.
It reminds me of... how old is this song? I mean,
Well, he
the
wrote it
words.
30 years ago, 40 years, 35 years ago.
It reminds me of the same mood of a song which was written in France less than 3 years ago. And it was written by a folk singer of France who would be the French Bob Dylan, just 10 years older, Jean Ferrat. And he's singing and composing angry songs. And the song I was thinking about was, it's all a program by its title. It's Night and Fog in German, Nacht und Nebel. It's about the victims of the concentration camps. And it ends like this. It says, people say now it's too late to sing this kind of songs, but who will prevent me from singing them? I would twist the word if I had to for the children to know who were those people.
Vincent, c'était des milliers, ces maigres tremblants dans des wagons plombés, qui déchiraient la nuit de leurs ongles battants. Ils étaient des milliers, ils étaient Vincent. Ils se croyaient les hommes, n'étaient plus que des nombres. Depuis longtemps leur dé avait été jeté. Dès que la main retombe, il ne reste qu'une ombre. Ils ne devaient jamais plus revoir un été. Du temps, survivre encore une heure, un jour obstinément. Combien de tours de roue, d'arrêts et de départs qui n'en finissaient pas de distiller l'espoir. Ils s'appelaient Jean-Pierre, Natacha ou Samuel. Certains priaient Jésus, Jéhovah ou Vishnu, d'autres ne priaient pas. Mais qu'importe le ciel, ils voulaient simplement ne plus vivre à genoux. Ils n'arrivaient pas tous à la fin du voyage. Ceux qui sont revenus peuvent-ils être heureux? Ils essaient d'oublier, étonnés qu'à leur âge, les veines de leurs bras soient devenues si bleues. Les Allemands guettaient du haut des miradors, la lune se taisait comme vous vous taisiez, en regardant au loin, en regardant dehors, votre chair était tendre à leur chien policier. On me dit à présent que ces mots n'ont plus cours, qu'il vaut mieux ne chanter que des chansons d'amour, que le sang s'écheville en entrant dans l'histoire, et qu'il ne sert à rien de prendre une guitare. Mais qui donc est de taille à pouvoir m'arrêter? L'ombre s'est faite humaine, aujourd'hui c'est l'été. Je twisterai les mots, s'il fallait les twister, pour qu'un jour les enfants sachent qui vous étiez. Vous étiez Vincent, vous étiez des milliers, des maigres tremblants dans des wagons plombés, qui déchiriez la nuit de vos ongles battants. Vous étiez des milliers, vous étiez Vincent.
Well, we got to travel on. Let's end with a happier song. This is a dance tune. Everybody knows it. The Russian Peddler going down the road. It's full of double entendre. He says, "Take pity, baby, on this young man's shoulder, and my pack I must carry." But he says, "Across the road in the dark ride tonight, I'll wait for you. And when I see those dark eyes, I'll display all my merchandise." Wait a minute. I must ask you, before the program's over, who makes your sweaters?
My wife. And who made yours?
My wife.
That's wonderful.
My wife's the chief cook and bottle washer on this program, you know.
Oh, had I a golden thread and needle so fine, I'd weave a magic strand of rainbow design, of rainbow design. I'd weave the innocence of children over all the earth, children of all earth. Far over the waters, I'd reach my magic band to every city, through every single land, through every land. Show my brothers and my sisters my rainbow design. Bind up this old world with hand and heart and mind.